Hey y'all, this is ASJ.
Bonjour Comic Con, comment ça va? Je suis un Backstreet Boy aujourd'hui, t'as dit? Ok, mes francophones sont où? Ouais! Where are my English people? So, mes bilingues? Montréal. My God, il y en a beaucoup qui ça. Ça va bien? Fait qu'on va faire ça, tu sais, on va faire les règles. We do the rules. That's where the questions happen. This magic talking stick, right there. Guys, I'm really excited. Who else is like 33 years old and like, it's like I'm 12 and I'm like, oh my God! I was so excited. I'm like, let me do the Power Rangers. Full Philly Power Rangers. I loved it, even though the putties always ended up next to a rock instead of downtown. That was weird. And then Jason was awesome. Jason was the best. And then Tommy came and he's all like, I'm green and I have a flute. I was like, I'm white. I'm going to be the boss now. I was like, that's a come on. Jason's always the boss.
Gold Ranger!
Guys, I'm not going to make you guys wait any longer. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Austin St. John. Mr. Walter Jones. And Mr. King Radio.
How you doing? How you doing? How you doing? It's bright, man. Blinded by the light. Yo, what's up, guys? How you doing? How's Montreal doing? Yeah, man, it's good to be here. It's good to be back. I was here back after I did Power Rangers. I did a show called Space Cases, and it filmed right here in Montreal. I was here for 2 years, and man, I had a good time then. I am having a good time now. It's so good to be back. I'm just really digging the seat right now. I want to go back up. I could have too much fun with this for like weeks. So, are you asking questions or who's asking?
I can if you want, but I prefer if some of these people.
Okay, I have a question first. I've been asking for like days, and I've been told for days. I guess since yesterday I've been asking, and I can't. Everybody says there's no literal translation, and I'm trying to figure it out. How, in French, is that français? Yeah. How do I say it's Morphin time? And that's pretty much the response I've been getting. That sounds like a whole lot. I don't know. We're getting some no over here. So who's really got it? Somebody?
Right here, Batman.
Batman's got it? Of course Batman has it. Say tapu morphine. Tapu morphine. That just like, I think morphine as a paramedic. So I'm like, that just sounds like a fancy way to say, give me some drugs. That's a hard. Tapu morphine. Oui, oui. But of course. Okay, so that was fun. There's just no way to do it. 15 languages.
15 languages, wow.
I don't know if we can hold your phone up in front of all these people, though.
Yeah, but that's kind of cool. I gotta look it up on YouTube for sure. Well, which one of you has a question for us? Yes.
The microphone's right here.
Yes. So before I get to my question, I just want to say, David, when I was a kid, I wear contacts now, but when I was a kid, I wore glasses. I was the only one in my class, and I got made fun of a lot. And seeing a Power Ranger with glasses was immensely important to me. It made it much easier to deal with. So, thank you for that.
You're very welcome. Thank you. Wearing glasses was such an honor. I had no idea it would have such an effect on so many people's lives, but it's really humbling when I hear stories like that. For all of us, like when we hear stories about how our characters in the TV show affected your life, and that it made you feel better about yourself, as you should feel good about yourself. So we're all different, And obviously people that wear glasses rule the world. I'm glad that you could take something from Billy, so thank you for sharing.
Can I tell him a little something else now?
Could you please
It
do
depends.
that? Could you?
Okay, don't worry, it's not that. Just so you know, you didn't want to wear glasses. I remember this guy on set. Do you remember these conversations well? I remember this guy.
Oh, go ahead.
I remember he's like, I really hate these glasses. I remember him telling directors and makeup that, can we take the glasses off? And they were like, no.
Only because there's, a whole backstory to this. Only because they weren't real lenses, they were fake lenses. And quite often when we would shoot, like we have lights shining on us like right now, the lights would reflect. And so I'd always have to be tilting my glasses up or down for shots. And then over time, because they weren't real lenses and they had to dull them, so the light wouldn't shine so much, my vision was changing. So it was really starting to affect me in my real life, because I didn't really wear glasses. It was just part of my character. So when I went to film the movie, Billy got contacts. So, and I do wear contacts now. I'll take them out if you need to see. But yeah, I mean, glasses rule. So.
And there you have it, the behind the scenes moments
Thank
from
you.
Billy David Yost.
Thank you.
And yeah, my question was, no, that was all good too. I was just wondering about the action scenes that you guys filmed. How much time did you get actually in the suits themselves? And because I know some of it was taken in the Japanese version, and you had stunts and whatnot. How much of that was actually you guys?
Not enough. But it wasn't really by choice. We would have, at least I know when I was on with everybody, they had, Alpha, Bravo, and Charlie units, so A, B, and C camera units, all filming sometimes simultaneously. And if Alpha or Bravo units needed our faces, well, Charlie was shooting stunts, and the stunts had to be shot whether we could be there or not because of time schedules. So if we had to be here and we couldn't be there, not even we could be in all three places at the same time. But you can always tell when I was in costume because I had these great big quads and a booty. And, I'm not saying anything in particular, but I'm saying that the guys that were in the suits were little Asian guys and they didn't have quads or booties. So you'll know when it was me.
Yeah, we didn't spend a lot of time in the suits. It was basically transitional. And there's also safety concerns because obviously fighting in the suits with the helmet is more dangerous, and when you have to be the face actor every day, you got to show up for work regardless of whether or not you have a busted hip or a busted knee or a broken arm. It's important to maintain our safety, so we didn't do as much in the suits.
Yeah, and you'd know it was me because, I had big
Feet.
and I'm not saying anything against the stunt guys. They were small Asian guys. So that's how you know it was me.
They're saying Asian guys don't have big feet.
Yeah.
And that's not true.
We're moving to the next question.
Thank you for your question.
First of all, thanks for coming to Montreal. It's really good to have you guys here. My question is, we're talking about the fighting in the suits, but a lot of it was actually you guys doing the fighting without the suits, like with your casual clothes. And you have to rehearse for that, you have to be prepared for the shoot. So how well or how bad did it go when you guys were actually rehearsing? Like, were you hitting each other for real, or?
Not when people were looking.
Clay. Well, you know what, I think for me personally, that was the funnest part of the show for me. It was like, I love being, somebody who does martial arts and being physical and flipping and jumping and kicking, and it was a challenge to put it all together. Zach had his own form of karate, hip-hop, keto, so I had to dance while I was doing all that, and that was pretty crazy. But there were times where we would put together fights and we didn't have a lot of time. It wasn't like, in a movie or, in a large production, you usually get like a week to put together something like that, you know, and you rehearse it for camera, and then you shoot it, and it's perfect, you know. But for us, it was like, okay, so you guys are gonna be shooting a fight scene this afternoon, and we have like 15, 20 minutes to put something together. Even when we were fighting each other, it was like, all right, so we're gonna do this, and this, and this, and this, and this, and all right, here we go, let's shoot. And it was like, quick, go, go, go. And there were some times where, like, he'd be throwing a kick at my head and I didn't duck. And luckily for me that he's a martial artist, because he would stop the kick and go, whoa, you should have ducked. I'm like, all right, cool. You know, or
It was that moment of silence where it was like my foot stopped, he saw it, we saw it, and we both just went, shit.
yeah, okay. Let's do it again.
Let's try that again.
Exactly. So, I mean, it was cool that we were able to put all that stuff together, and it was a lot of fun.
I remember watching Dave set his stuff up with gymnastics, and this guy like flipped master, and you wouldn't have known it in the first few seasons because they were trying to keep it on the DL. But like Olympic gymnast, this guy was sick.
He was not an Olympic gymnast.
Looked like it to me.
Don't start rumors.
He said.
I was a competitive gymnast, yeah.
Competitive in the Olympics.
I was an Olympic hopeful. We'll leave it at that.
Okay, all right.
Good question, thank you.
Thanks.
Hi guys, so I know you hear it a lot, but I just want to say thanks for being here. You guys were such an inspiration for my childhood. And I kind of want to piggyback on the last question. So part of the reason why I got into gymnastics and dance was watching the Power Rangers when I was small. I wanted to know if you guys still pursue martial arts, dance, or gymnastics, or at what point did you stop and do you kind of miss that?
Okay. I've been. I still dance. I've stopped dancing. Well, I still dance hip hop. You know, I still gotta rock it out a little bit. But anyway, so I still dance hip hop, but I moved on to dancing salsa. So salsa, Latin styles. I love that. I'm a world champion salsa dancer. You can look me up on YouTube, Walter Jones, world champion. Anyway, you can do that. Besides that, I'm still studying martial arts. I actually took some classes with Steve Cardenas, the Red Ranger from Mighty Morphin, and doing BJJ, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. It's pretty tough. I like it. And I went on to pursue, I got a black belt in Hapkido after I left the show. So still training, but not as often as I did before. But yeah, definitely still dancing and doing martial arts, and flipping, not so much, except for in the pool.
Am I up? Well, I'm 45, 45. So I don't do gymnastics anymore. I kind of gave it up after I left Power Rangers.
But he's got guns.
I got some guns.
He's got guns.
I mostly run, hike, and lift weights. But you know, flipping, I had my day with that. I will tell you that I did audition for a commercial about a year ago, and they asked me to do a flip, and I thought, yeah, no problem. And I went to do a flip, and I smacked my head on the cement. It's all good. It was caught on camera. And I said, can we please do that again? And so they allowed me to do a second take, and I nailed it the second time. But the first time I was like, oh God, if they put that on YouTube, I'm gonna be so embarrassed. So far I haven't seen it, so you know, it pays to really keep practicing is all I'm trying to say.
All right, let's see. Backflip right here. Off the stage. Boom.
Yeah,
There you go.
okay.
Yeah,
Austin.
Martial arts,
Austin,
I gotta tell you, for the last at least 4 years, I've been overseas in the Middle East, and not really a lot of places to practice over there. It's not like you walk into downtown Kuwait and find too many places where you can study without maybe them not appreciating me because of my color or religion. So I didn't practice a lot overseas. There were guys on base that I'd spent a lot of time with. It was more what they call in the Army, they call it combatives. So I worked with some of the soldiers, we did combatives, and it basically was, it's another version of MMA with forms of grappling and things are tied into it, except that it's designed for not really competition. It's designed for another side of life. So I had some fun doing that, but I haven't been adamant in practice for quite some time. I've been in medicine, I've been busy with that, and now that I'm back, I'm healing up some injuries, and I'm hoping to start maybe yet another martial art, because I love them all. And while I certainly appreciate many people who spent their whole lives in one or two, I have martial arts ADD. I need to be in as many as possible. So I'm thinking about Wing Chun or Wushu, going into some of the Chinese side of the arts, and letting a little Asian guy kick my butt and learn a lot while he does it. So I love to practice. I appreciate all of it, and I just don't know what I'm going to study next. I love it all.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Hi, I just want to say also thanks for being here. I've been watching you guys with Mighty Morphin since like 5. I also met one of my first friends due to Power Rangers. But I just want to say, I want to ask though, knowing that you guys started off the Mighty Morphins, the Power Rangers, to this day, there's all these other ones, but you guys are still the original that everyone goes crazy about and where the fandom comes from. How does that make you guys feel?
I think I like it. Yeah. No, go ahead.
It's Morphin time! I'm sorry, man. I'm sorry. I was having flashbacks. I'm here now. Tyrannosaurus! Mastodon! Do they have a pill for this? I can't help it. I love it, man. It's great. I love it. Love being with these guys. Love being with y'all, and it's just awesome.
Yeah, honestly, it's extremely humbling for us, just because 20-some years ago when we started this, I don't think we had an idea of how much of an impact it would have, and so that we get to be the originals, and we get to meet all of you guys, and we're constantly starting to go all over the world now, so we really get to meet fans from everywhere. It's just really awesome.
This is the crazy part. Okay, you guys used to be little. You're not little anymore. You're big and you have little ones, which is crazy to me.
In case you didn't know that.
Yeah, in case you didn't know. But the thing about it is all right, back in the day when the Rangers first started and we were like, the show blew up, your parents were crazy. Your parents were crazy. You guys were nice. You guys were like, hi, oh, nice to meet you. Your parents were like, come here, my son needs your autograph right here. Like,
he is not playing.
Yeah, it was crazy. So it's interesting because then, parents couldn't get toys, they couldn't get the things for their kids, and you guys are obviously very important to your parents, so they were determined. Whereas you guys were like kind of shy and just humble, like just kind of like really pleasant about things. And now you're grown, and you're still the same way. You have this this energy as fans that's just amazing because you're really kind and
genuine,
respectful of privacy and so forth and so on. I mean, I don't have anybody. The fans that approach me are usually very, very like, I'm sorry, I don't want to interrupt you, but I just want to say, and which is awesome, which is amazing, as compared to being like, you owe me something, which is weird, So it's great I'm just so happy to have you guys in our lives. I mean, like that we get to go places. I can't go anywhere without, there's not one day that goes by that somebody doesn't go, man, I love you. You were awesome. You were my childhood, or you inspired me to be this, and how positive that is in my life to have that almost everywhere I go every day. It's amazing. Thank you.
Well, thank you. And I just want to say too, Billy was always one of my favorite characters.
Oh, you're sweet, thank you. What's your name?
Jessica.
Jessica. Everybody help me remember the name Jessica.
Oh, look out, Jessica.
Hey guys, pretty much I want to continue on what she was saying, because how does it feel to, how you guys managed to stay awesome after all these years? Because it's been like 25 years, we watched you and everybody still remembers who you are. Okay, look at this room, everybody's filled up, everybody knows everything that you've done, followed your life and everything. Like, how are you taking it all in? And are you guys coming back?
Let me reverse this for you guys. So let me put these shoes on your feet. I was 17 when I auditioned for the show. I was a baby. I'm still mentally a baby, I just don't tell people that. Except I guess I just did. So at 17 years old, wherever you were in your life, you walk in for something called Phantoms. It just pops up. You don't really know what it's for. Everybody in the LA area has been invited to this audition, and I think probably Texas and other places. and you're going in for what you're hoping is just going to be a good show. You're going to make some money, and that's really all you know about it. And then maybe even you're more like me instead of these guys, and you don't know anything about acting, because I didn't. And you show up, you go through these massive callbacks, Saban and stunt coordinators, and you're meeting all of these people that you read about in the papers and the tabloids, and then all of a sudden, they're saying, sign here on the dotted line. You're like, really, what does that mean? At least that's what I said. So I sign on the dotted line, then I show up for what's called a pilot. Somebody had to explain to me, these guys, what a pilot really is and why it's important. Oh, well, this is the beginning. If the pilot goes well, then you have a series. And I went, oh. And then the series started. Well, we started filming the series. We had to redo the first episode. And then we found out the series was picked up. I went, oh. Because again, I knew it was really cool, but we still didn't have any idea what that meant. So now here you are, don't really know anything about acting, martial artist, gymnast, dancer, whatever it was in your background, and all of a sudden you're on a series that has blown up. You're told you're #1 in the world, that there hadn't been anything better in the Nielsen ratings, I think, is what they told us. And you went from, well, we were still normal dudes, but we went from normal dudes to everybody else to somebody important to everybody else, even though we were all still normal dudes and dudettes. And so, kind of wrap your mind around that. Take you right now, a year from now, and put you up on a mega global scale. And how do you stay awesome? You just be yourself, man. Stay true to yourself. I think that's what we love to do. And we just enjoyed every second of an incredible ride with each of you.
First of all, un bon Québécois, bienvenue à Montréal. I have two questions, one big and one short. The big one. Which one of your, what favorite part during your work with Power Rangers, what favorite part and what favorite episode were your favorites? What part of the show did you like, and what were your favorite episodes?
Well, like I said, I mentioned that one of my favorite parts of the show was the choreography, the fight choreography, or the dancing. You know, like I also like the parts where I got to flirt with Angela. That was a lot of fun. She was really cute. Absolutely. Yeah. I think my favorite part of the show, the favorite part of the show for me is just the effect that we've had on people. You know, that positive thing that we are able to do, like even just with kids, Make-A-Wish Foundation, which is a foundation that helps terminally ill kids. We had the opportunity to go to a hospital and make kids smile that hadn't smiled in like months because they're going through things in their lives. So that to me is more powerful than almost anything else. It's like just the power to make somebody smile by just being who I would be anyway, which is a nice person. So.
One more question. It's going to be very short. How big was your relationship with the late Tui Trang? That was Trini for the Yellow Rangers. For those who don't know, for those who don't remember.
We know, it's just, that's your small question?
It was small in it took less than
Let me start the answer here. I'll tell you what, Tui was the sweetest girl. She was always, she kind of had this little mischievous side, but because everyone looked at her and saw her as so innocent, which she really was, she still enjoyed every so often just sneaking off into the land of mischief and doing it very discreetly. She was really good at it. And she was like a sister to me. I loved working with her. It was always a pleasure, and she was an amazing person.
Yeah, Tui was pretty awesome. I had a little bit of a crush on her.
I think I might have.
Yeah, I used to love to play with her hair. I'm like, oh, your hair is so long and pretty. And she was just like, she was just a really sweet person. We got along really well, and had lots of opportunities to just kind of hang out. I mean, outside of the set, and we would, after we left the show, we would go off and sometimes hit a club and be in the same environment with like different people. And she was just always so likable, and she's dearly missed.
Yeah, I mean, I can't say too much more than them, that she was sweet. I always loved her laugh. I thought she was funny. And her best line to Billy was, "Billy, you're too high." So, Yeah, she was a great girl.
Well, we all miss her. Thank you very much. Merci beaucoup.
What's up? I'm glad you guys could make it today at the Comic Con. My question is, why did you guys leave the show, and will we ever see you back? I know that was kind of fast.
It's pretty intense.
Well, the reason that I left the show was because we were about to do the film, and it was going to be a big deal. It was amazing, and the show was a non-union show. It continues to be a non-union show now. And if you don't know anything about union, the union is what protects actors for being actors. Obviously, we're artists, and the term starving artist means something. So if you're in the union, then you're protected, your rights are protected, and you are, especially as a professional on a show that's, you know, doing so well in 40 countries around the world with merchandise everywhere, it would behoove us to be part of the union. So we were negotiating for the movie and the show to be union, and in the end, it just didn't work out.
As far as would we come back, we'll see what happens if there's an offer that hits the table.
All right, thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Okay, so here we go. Yeah, I'm really short. So thank you guys for coming. And my cousin was the one who got me into Power Rangers in the first place. I had another cousin who, because of that cousin, had a very big crush on Billy, and she still tends to today to tend to go towards that kind of boy, the more nerdy boys.
Hey. Let me tell you.
If the shoe fits.
We are nerdy boys. They're good.
Oh yeah, my boyfriend's a nerdy boy, so. Yeah, so my question actually was, because I've heard a lot of Power Ranger actors have liked doing the voiceover aspect of the fights and scenes that there's the suits and the Megazord battles.
Oh, pumpkin.
What was your guys' favorite experience doing that? What didn't you like doing from that?
The voiceover stuff?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, for me, it was just funny sometimes because usually the voiceover stuff would come from Japanese footage, and so, you know, the Japanese were saying whatever they were saying in their country, and then we would have to try to somehow squeeze our American language, our English language, into their movements, which didn't always work. And so it was just always trying to figure out the right wording to make it look like we were actually saying it. So it was challenging because it'd be like, no, say that really fast right there. And then, no, slow that down right there because of the movements and stuff. So it was funny to me a lot of times just trying to see what we would come up with. And with my character, Billy, he would often use big words. And for me, trying to squeeze it into some of that stuff was challenging.
I actually can remember being in my car on the way home from ADR. It had to have been way early, within the first few episodes. We would spend it forever in this little box called, where we would do ADR, where we'd stand in front of a microphone, here's the TV screen, and you get this beep, beep, beep in your ear, and then you had to spill your line. It's Morphin time! Oh my God, it's a huge purse, whatever the line was. And you know that that's true, right? So we had to squeeze it in, exactly like he said, and it was certainly new to me. And I was kind of hating it, you know, because first thing I see is what reminded me of of the old martial arts movies, you know, you killed my father. Now you must pay. You know, so that's what I was thinking of. And I actually remember driving home from work one night, and I'm in my car, and I'm like because Tony Oliver was telling me, you gotta put emphasis on, you know, when the hands come down and they do these moves. And so I'm in my car now, driving home, before everybody had a cell phone in the car. And I'm just running through lines to myself in my car at a stoplight. And I look over, and there's people doing this. And they see me look over and they immediately do this. And I thought to myself, this is not good. So that's what I remember from ADR. It was one of those moments.
I have to agree with both of these guys. It's just entertaining doing it, and trying to fit sentences in that were odd because you did have to match the movement. You know, like we jump in the the Megazord, and you land, something like that, and it was like...
Wait, do it again.
Oh, yeah. It was like...
Yes, now you must die.
Kind of the way you had to do it, exactly. Next question.
Tell me your name.
Jennifer.
Jennifer, and what's your cousin's name?
The one that got me, the one
He's
that,
gonna take out the whole family.
the one that had the
The
crush
one that had
on
the
me?
crush on me, yeah.
Andrea.
Andrea?
Yeah.
Okay, great. Everybody help me remember Jennifer and Andrea.
That is the Super Sentai Godzilla Mega Tally-Ho suit, right? Okay, I thought so. Godzilla Tally-Ho Super Mega...
All right, Batman, let's...
I'm actually tall, so I need to adjust this. Before I ask my question, I just want to tell you a little story just to give you an idea how big Power Rangers was when I was a kid. I remember I was coming into school, I was in the schoolyard, and I remember two girls all the way in the corner of the schoolyard talking about plot holes from yesterday's episode. And I'm like, wow, this is popular. My question's for Austin. I don't know if you've ever seen this video. It's called The Inner Thoughts of the Red Ranger.
Just every day in my head.
Essentially what it is, it's a scene from MMPR where they introduce the White Ranger, and it's the inner thoughts of the Red Ranger going through his head, and let's just say it's not PG. And I was wondering, what was going through your head in that scene?
I don't even remember the scene. I'm sure I thought this is really cool, but
Essentially it's when they say like, oh yeah, now the White Ranger's the leader.
I'm sure it was very cool. I mean, it didn't make an impression in my mind, I can tell you that.
All right, thank you.
I got a request and I got a question after that. I'm sure everyone wants to hear that. Can I have you say, it's Morphin time, and then Mastodon, Triceratops, and Tyrannosaurus? You know you want it!
We'll just do that at the end, is that cool?
I'm sorry?
Can we wait till the very end to do that? It usually makes everybody faint and scream and cry. So
Somebody's
it's
gotta call
best
911.
to wait till the end.
Sure, no problem. My question is for David. I heard Jason David Frank talked about it. I asked Johnny Young Bosch about it. What was your experience for the Power Ranger movie?
Oh, I thought you were going to ask me something totally crazy, like, you know, what was it like when Jason David Frank put a fly in your sandwich and you ate it? I thought that's where we were going. So, my experience on the movie.
Yeah. Well,
it was awesome. We were in Australia for 6 months. It was like on such a larger, bigger budget scale. The sets were huge. We got to travel all over Australia and film in different locations. I had a lot of fun. It was a lot of hard work because the movie was only supposed to be a 3-month process. It ended up being basically 6 months. And because of that, we got behind on the TV show, so they made us film the movie and the TV show at the same time. So it's like there was one point where we worked 21 days straight without any days off.
Non-union.
Non-union. So that means we're working like at least 12 hours a day, but it was typically 14 to 16-hour days, bouncing back and forth between the movie, the TV show, and then doing our voiceovers for the TV show on top of it. So it was maddening at times, but I had a lot of fun doing it overall.
all right, thanks a bunch,
Thank you.
guys.
And just to clarify, I'm really glad there's nobody filming what happens in my head. Because, wow, that would be its own TV series.
Hi, thank you guys for coming. You're obviously still great entertainers and diplomats.
What a great voice.
Thank you.
And thank you for
My
calling
mom
us
gave it to me.
diplomats. That's
You
nice.
are it's very clear. I'm actually from the States, and one of the really special things about the show was that there was a lot of racial diversity and a young ensemble cast on a primetime kids show, so that was a really big deal. And the impact, I think, of that was really serious, especially because it's such an enormous franchise ongoing today. So I was wondering what that was like representing that back in the the primetime of the first franchise, and even now as ambassadors for that brand, especially because that's so central to American identity, just like the racial diversity. Perhaps Walter could weigh in a little bit more, but it would be really great to hear from everyone.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm so serious.
You were so well spoken. I love that. That's great. I thought it was amazing that so many people were represented in that show and as superheroes. And then being a kid that grew up in Detroit, which is predominantly a black city, and then coming to California where I understood the meaning of minority I was like, oh, that's what they meant. Okay, I see. And then to be a Power Ranger, to represent, you know, an African American as a superhero, a teenage superhero, and for the show to have so much impact, it was like, it makes me very proud to this day. As far as I know, I think I'm the first African American live action superhero, and it makes me very proud to have given so many people in the African American community somebody to look up to, a role model, because that's sorely needed. I mean, it's, you know, it's needed in every way. But I've heard stories from different people. Like, I got a fan mail from a guy who was like, yeah, you know, I grew up in this town and I didn't have any black friends, or I didn't know any black people, and because of the show, I watched it, and my cousins, they played, and everybody had picked their Ranger, and I ended up being you, and I was mad. I didn't want to be you. I was like, I gotta be Black Ranger, I gotta be Black Ranger. But then I started watching the show, and I noticed how cool your character was, and how you were, you know, you were kind, and you were, you know, good-hearted, and you looked out after everybody, and I started to be proud to be you, and I learned to dance hip-hop because of you, and I learned to do, I got in martial arts, and now I have a diverse group of friends, and I thank you for that. And I was like, that's, if I did, that did the job for anybody else to open their minds against prejudice, or to open their minds to be diverse, diversify their friendships, and understand other cultures and people, then it makes me so happy. Yeah.
Thank you very much.
First off, I just want to fanboy a little bit, like, oh my god, never in my life have I ever thought I'd be talking to 3 Power Rangers. If I go back in time and tell my 3-year-old self this, you'll never believe it. But my question's a pretty quick one. Lionsgate is doing a remake of the Power Rangers movie in 2016. Are you guys involved in any way at all, or is any of the original Rangers involved in any way at all, or have you guys not heard any talks about that at all?
It remains to be seen.
Alrighty then.
Yeah, none of us, I don't think, I have heard anything yet, but we'll see. I think we're all hopeful. Maybe we'll get a little cameo here or there.
I'm kind of hoping to. Thank you very much.
Hey, you got to recreate this digital file of this T-shirt.
Yeah,
I mean,
we love
this is
this
like
shirt.
the best
It's
shirt
a
I've
cool
ever seen
shirt.
in my life.
Exactly.
You really did a good job.
I'll do it.
Do it. Sell it. Make money. Just don't tell Saban.
I don't know if you guys knew this, but it was during the first season of Power Ranger, there was a French translation that played here on the local French channel, and it stayed on the air for about a week before being taken off because parents complained that it was too violent. Now I was wondering if you guys ever had to defend the show against angry parents.
How long do we have? I could tell you one of the biggest things that I remember while all of us were still on was the child who was stoned to death. I think it was in Sweden, because they were playing Power Rangers and they stoned this little boy, I think it was, to death. And somebody sat me down. We were in an interview, and they said, "So how do you feel about that?" As if I had done it. And I'm not always politically correct. Sometimes I let my not so good inner self come out. And I remember looking at them and saying, I think it's bad parenting. Because you know what? I grew up watching Wile E. Coyote drop rocks on Bugs Bunny's head, and I've never stoned anybody. Have you? How about you guys? Have you seen Wile E. Coyote? Pretty violent, right? Compared to Power Rangers, is it anywhere near as violent? And nobody's blaming Wile E. Coyote. So, you know, children, especially now as a father, children represent what they see at home. They represent their parents, the type of parenting that is brought to them, and the role models that are set forth for them in their home. That is not to say that superheroes can't have an impact, because clearly we see that today. But it's still mom and dad's job, as a primary role model, to teach right from wrong. So, while I can understand that there were some people who felt it was our fault, I absolutely disagree.
Also, Also on that note, I know the producers did, once we started hearing the complaints that it was too violent, we did make public service announcements that aired at the end of episodes that sort of helped you guys as kids understand that fantasy and reality, you know, what was real and what wasn't real. So I know we did make some effort to try to help people understand what was really going on.
I think something else that also happened that I'm grateful for with the show is, yes, you know, the kids will watch it and they get excited and want to kick and punch, just like I did when I watched Bruce Lee movies. Woo! You know, like, so what I always told parents when they confronted me about that is I would say, well, put your kid in a martial arts class, because in martial arts you are trained to be self-disciplined, have self-control, self-reliance. It inspires you to be so many great things so that you don't use violence at all. In fact, you are trained not to use it in case, you only use it, sorry. You use it only when you absolutely need to. So it teaches you more not to fight than to fight. And so I think because of that, and because Power Rangers did inspire a lot of people to get into martial arts, there's a whole lot of people walking around as martial artists, and the bullies that are out there are in trouble because they're picking on kids like, yeah, I'm bigger than you, and that kid's like, you don't know who I am. You don't know what I got under my belt. So I'm happy about that, because bullying is something that's really true and real in the world. And you know, if you are a martial artist and you've trained to protect yourself, to defend yourself, I think it's important that you have those skills, and I'm glad that we inspired that.
Especially amongst the martial artists who don't stand up every day and talk about how spectacular they are. I've had guys, some of the most unassuming guys, walk up, even today and yesterday. You know, very low-key, very humble, very personable, approachable. And these are things that I think come from a long time of study or proper study in the martial arts. And we have this great conversation about the show, and at the end, they're like, you know what, thank you so much for inspiring me. I got my 2nd degree or my 3rd degree black belt or whatnot in this or this martial art. And they're not braggadocious, they're not pointing fingers, they're treating it the way that it should be treated. It's something special.
Peaceful warriors. It's
not a badge to be worn like a mantle, you know, that's not what it's for. And so I see so many people in the fandom who are treating it like what it truly should be. And that really is more of what the martial arts is about. Humility is a big part of the martial arts, and I see it every day when I meet you guys. I couldn't be more proud.
So I've been told that we're down to about 4 minutes now, so we're going to do lightning round questions, and we'll try to answer as quickly as possible.
How's it going, guys?
What's up, dude?
So anyway, I was thinking about my question, and I had a question, and then I came in the back, and then as I stood there, every person asked everything I was thinking of. So I'm just going to tell you a little tale about inspiration.
Okay, we're down to 4 minutes.
Okay, I'll tell you really quickly. My dad is a martial artist, and probably nothing would have made him more proud if I became a martial artist too, and a show Power Rangers came on. I'm like, Dad, I want to learn how to fight. He's like, great, I'll set up a kids class. But the kids class happened at the same time the show was on. So after about 2 weeks, I dropped out. I was stuck teaching kids for 2 years. But I did become a musician because of the theme song, so thank you.
Good for you.
So you know that you are like a lot of our heroes, but who were your heroes growing up? Who were your inspirations?
I was definitely inspired by my family, my parents, my uncles, aunts, and then on television, the people, you know, that represented me. Like, I loved Fonzie, you know, like loved that, and then like I was a big fan of Billy D. Williams and various people like that, Bruce Lee. Yeah.
That pretty much sums it up for me. My parents were amazing, strong, highly intelligent, something to look up to for me. And I mean, I had all the mainstream guys, you know, Superman, Spider-Man. When I didn't want to fly, I was like, can I shoot webs, you know? And Bruce Lee was the man. So yeah, all that stuff, it was crazy. And Chuck Norris. I mean, you gotta throw in Chuck.
Yeah, I was very much a Star Wars guy, so Darth Vader. I was on the dark side, so I was all about Darth Vader. And definitely Superman. I love all the Christopher Reeves movies. And Farrah Fawcett. She's a big inspiration to me. On Charlie's Angels, you guys are too young, but look it up. She was hot.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, last question.
Okay, I don't have any time for this. I'm a huge fanboy of the Power Ranger, but I have a question for you. Did you notice that the show looks kind of racist a lot when you think about it? I mean, you were the Black Ranger, and you're an Afro-American. You're like black. She was a Yellow Ranger, and she was like Asian. Billy was that like the boy who had no experience. He was blue, literally. So,
You know, I got to tell you, from me, my perspective, being a white guy, I know it's not important because I'm a white guy, but let me put this out there. I was actually so oblivious to this until it was pointed out to me, because I hadn't focused on it. It didn't even occur to me. And then I remember us talking early. I mean, it didn't take long. And we all just kind of went, do you think they did that on purpose?
and that's what I wanted to know too.
Yeah, I don't think they did. I think it kind of was happenstance. And I think that Walt and Twee and Dave and AJ did great things with what was put in their lap, and they made people proud.
Yeah, and I mean, before Twee was put on the show, there was a Latina girl, Audrey, that was there. So there was never any ill will, I think, on anybody's level to make it like that. It just happened, and we can laugh about it, but you know, we should all be proud of. I think we're all proud of who we played.
And on the other side of the coin, you couldn't call it prejudice anyway. I was a superhero. It'd be different if I was like the bad guy. He was like, oh, he's the enemy. I'm like, no, I'm a superhero, so I'm a role model for millions of people around the world. There's nothing prejudiced about that. Plus, I like the black color personally. I'm just saying.
I'm still defending Power Ranger whenever everybody talks to me about the fact that I'm still very young mentally.
Well, thank you. I think we promised you.
Okay, but before we run out of time, where's Jessica? Come on, baby.
Look out, man. Look out. Dun, 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 dun.
So, Jessica, since you're a fan of Billy, I'm going to give you an autograph card of Billy, so thank you. And Jennifer, I have a card for you, and I need you to give one to your cousin Andrea. And you give that girl a big hug for me. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Nice to meet you.
I didn't get this guy's name, and I hope he's still in the room. Who is the person that asked the very first question? You're really tall. Get up here, buddy. What's your name? What is it?
Daniel.
Nathaniel. This is for you. This is a Power Ranger comic book, per se. And it's autographed by all three of us.
He is pretty tall.
All right, and to the sound guys in the back, sound check. Watch your mics. Get ready.
All right.
All right, everybody got the iPhones.
Yeah, get ready. Wait, I didn't hear it. I'm last.
You're just the most special. All right, everybody's ready.
Yeah!
All right, here we go. It's Morphin time! Tyrannosaurus! Mastodon!
Triceratops!
Thank you for coming.
Thank you guys.
Good luck, Montreal.
Hey guys, make sure you come check us out at the tables. If you haven't come and seen us already, we have photo ops coming up with all three of us, so check it out, guys.